Welcome, dear viewers of SSBC, to this special program on SSBC. My name is Majur Cholkor. This week we are looking at the commemorations of Eid-al-Adha in the Republic of South Sudan and globally. On SSBC these times, I'm joined by a special guest, and that is none other than Michael Gatkor, a learning lawyer at the University of Juba. Michael, you're most welcome to the studio of SSBC.
Thank you, Major. Thank you for hosting me.
To begin with, what do you know about Eid-al-Adha? If you heard about Eid-al-Adha, how do you feel, and what is your understanding about Eid-al-Adha?
Thank you very much for the question. First of all, Eid-al-Adha means peace of sacrifice, that is connected to Ibrahim. Eid-al-Adha is being commemorated worldwide. It's the second feast after Fitr. Is being commemorated, and in most occasions, it illustrated that this is a sacrifice that had been met by Ibrahim's, and it means a lot to celebrate and to join Muslim communities around the world, in particular South Sudan. And I would have begun by wishing them happy Eid while celebrating. This is a very important piece in which the Muslim community shares among themselves.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Gatkor. Dear viewers, let's have a short break. I will be right back. Welcome back, dear viewers on SSBC. Thank you so much for joining us, coming to you live from the national capital, Juba. And my guest is Mr. Gatkor, the learning lawyer at the University of Juba. He's helping us understanding what is the important about the commemorations of Eid al-Adha. And shortly, I will be joined also by the chairperson of South Sudan National Youth Unions, Mr. Gola Boyoy. Gola will be joining me soon, but as we are here with Mr. Michael Gatkor. Michael, let's know from you, what are some interesting things and facts about South Sudan that we can learn and reflect during the celebrations or commemorations of Eid al-Adha?
Thank you very much, Major. Among the few things that we can learn from this feast, one of them is that is the ways Muslim community share among themselves. You will find in this feast, in this festival season, that Muslim community go and see their relatives. They share with their children. They share with their loved ones. They share with the needy people. And most importantly, they come together. And you know, one of the important things that South Sudanese can learn from the Muslim community is a love for themselves that had been brought forward by this festival.
Talking about love, do you say the Muslim community love themselves the most?
If you can see from the way they share, the way they contributed, you can say Muslim community love themselves, definitely.
Looking at the way South Sudanese celebrate Eid al-Adha, apart from compared to other countries, do you see some uniqueness in the way South Sudanese celebrate Eid-al-Adha?
Of course, when you look at the way South Sudanese are celebrating, there is one unique way in which this peace is not being celebrated. You know, looking at the current situations of South Sudan, even if deteriorated by the lockdowns and all this, you know, South Sudan's are just transit from war to peace. And, you know, we can say Muslim, like another Christian communities, had been affected by war. And we can say that it is unique in one way or another, because they are celebrating with the hardships. But within that hardships, our Muslim brothers can still share.
Okay.
Yes.
Now let's look at how they were cheering during these celebrations as a learning lawyer at the University of Juba and as a youth in South Sudan. What was your experience based on the way they were celebrating the Eid-al-Adha, starting from yesterday, today, and onwards?
You know, thank you for the question again. When you look at the way our Muslim brothers had been cheering among themselves, you will feel the loves. Most importantly, the way you are being invited as non-Muslim to come and attend their sittings, to come and enjoy it with them. These are the few experience, you know.
Have you attended one of the sittings or the celebration yesterday or today?
Yesterday I attended one of the sitting in which I had an opportunity to interact with some of my long-time friends. We had just came from Khartoum to Juba, and you know, we had a great time.
Let me hope you were having some joys. Let me not mention them. What were the things that you were celebrating the Eid-al-Adha, like the food that you ate, maybe some drink that you tried to take for the celebration? What were the things really?
You know, celebrating any occasion depend on the financial capacity of each and every household. You know, there is no unique ways of celebrating this Eid other than, you know, local food had to be made, a goat may be slaughtered, then you share it with each.
What kind of local food that you ate yesterday?
Yesterday, definitely, I ate the South Sudanese food of Kisra, but there is unique ways of preparing a meat, you know.
Compared to before?
Yes.
Was it this because of the celebration that make it to be prepared in a very unique way?
Obviously, when people are celebrating, what people are eating before can be changed a bit, you know.
Okay.
There was a bit of change. Like, for instance, given the situation of Juba, one may not get meat, but luckily yesterday...
You get more than one?
Yes, you get more than one.
Okay.
You are okay, then take Jewish.
Yeah.
Yes, and those who want to enjoy will enjoy until then.
What was your feeling when you eat a local South Sudanese food that was prepared by your brothers and sisters from the Muslim community? What did it change in your life yesterday when you enjoyed that food?
Definitely, the most important things that have changed my life is how Muslim community behave toward, you know, non-Muslim. You know, being invited and you are non-Muslim to an occasion is a privilege. And, you know, we have to appreciate our Muslims, South Sudanese, because this is not the perception we had been having. By the way, long ago we think maybe Muslim may behave hostiles to Christian community, but luckily the loves they are showing us shows, and it strengthens the relationships, and it changes our ways of connection. You know, one thing it changed for me is the perception that maybe Muslim community may be an enemy to others' dominations.
Yeah.
Let me not mention it, Christian in particular. Yeah, and you know, it brings in loves of different religions across the world.
Do you think if they celebrate again next year, you will still enjoy and invite more of your friends to participate in the celebration of Eid-al-Adha?
Definitely, you know, I would like to invite the rest, share with them, you know, knows the loves of the Muslim communities toward others religions. You know, it is not good experience that once may take alone, but it needs all of us. You know, I may have been invited you definitely next year. I mean, yeah.
It's still even today you can invite me. Thank you so much for joining us, dear viewers on SSBC. We are coming to you live from the national capital, Juba, and this week we are looking at the commemorations of Eid-al-Adha. And joining me here in the studio is Mr. Michael Gatkor, a learning lawyer at the University of Juba, and he's making us to understand how is it important to South Sudanese and to all people residing or living in South Sudan to celebrate with our brothers and sisters from the Islamic or Muslim community. Mr. Michael, if we look at this celebration of Eid al-Adha, what can we reflect, given our cultures or given the cultures of South Sudanese, what can people reflect on the celebration of Eid al-Adha to change the living conditions? You mentioned earlier that South Sudan transit from war to peace. From there, what can we reflect on?
You know, our people can reflect very important things about this peace. You know, one thing our people can learn is how we can live together as a different, given the multi-religions that we have in the country. You know, and not only how we can coexist as a country together, but how we can coexist as Muslims and other religions. The most important thing we can learn from this is the loves, as I mentioned before, and I will still mention it. The second thing is our dedications, how, or let me say it, our devotions to the religious. And you know, our community should learn one thing, that a religious should not be used, you know, to divide us. That be reminded in our constitutions. Yeah.
I want to take you to what the law said about religions in South Sudan, given that you are studying law at the University of Juba. But before I take you there, do you think there was misunderstanding or division created because of the religions in the country?
Definitely, I will talk of past. Currently, although there is still that perception that, you know, certain religions can be a disaster to a country, but I don't think it caused much divisions. But when you talk of us, when we had been in Sudan, and you know our history, you know it very well, Islam had been enforced on us. And some of us had been living with the trauma that Islam is a bad religion, which was not true. You know, given after celebration, it appeared that it is not Islam that is bad. You know, those are individuals. And when you look at the current situation where we are, where our country is composed of different religions, you know, and Islam is one of them, it has never caused any trouble to us.
Okay, thank you. From there, let me take you to what the law said. You are studying law at the University of Juba.
Yeah.
What does the law say about religions? What should people learn about? What are you learning about the religion itself, and what does the law say about it?
Definitely, laws have tried its best to guide us on religious issues. If you look at our constitution, Article 8 of the Constitution, we talk about religious, that religious should be separated from the state. That is sub-article 1. If you look at sub-article B, it talk about, a religious itself cannot be used to divide the community. And it can, any members of any religious can be treated, equally. And that means no religious is much better than the other one. That is the first part which talks about the religious. And our constitution, the transitional constitution of the Republic of South Sudan, 2011, have basically tried its best to safeguard the law. That's why you can get it from Article 8, you get sub-article 1 and 2, which I had just mentioned. It did not stop from there. It also goes to the rights of religious, which is Article 22 of our Constitution. Let me say maybe Article 23 of our Constitution. It talks about right of religious. Every members have a right, It gave us a right totally, that you have a right to worship, to assemble in the names of your own religious that you want. That Constitution totally protects religious or a certain domination to camps and try to take leads in the process. So every religious is treated equally before the laws, whether being you Muslims or Christian, you are equal before the law. And I think that's what our law have said.
Well, thank you so much, dear viewers on SSBC, for following these special programs on SSBC. We are looking at the commemorations or celebrations of Eid-al-Adha. And my guest is Mr. Michael Gatkor, a lawyer at the University of Juba, and is helping us. And shortly, I will be joined by Mr. Gola Boyo Gola, chairperson of South Sudan National Youth Unions. Before I let you go, and let's learn from you, what is South Sudanese livelihood right now, given the conditions or given the celebrations of Eid-al-Adha?
Thank you very much. The current condition of South Sudan is I would actually say it, though we are coping, or we are trying to cope with life, our situation is worsening. After this, before coronavirus, we had been experiencing some difficulties, given our economics status. Phones had been degrading against the USD. Actually, our life had been very difficult.
Do you think it was a challenge in the celebration?
Definitely, it was one of the challenges. It is not only this, but when you look at way the coronavirus have restricted everything, it is even very difficult for a family to unite, to sit together and enjoy it peacefully, because these perceptions of coronavirus is everywhere, and the message, is everywhere. People were trying to answer to guideline, and it became one of the difficulties because you cannot celebrate this Eid alone.
Okay.
Yeah, along the way.
Thank you so much, Mr. Michael Gatkor, a learning lawyer at the University of Juba. I really appreciate for having you on this special program on SSBC. Before you leave the studio, what is your last message to South Sudanese outside there?
My last message to all South Sudanese is that let us love ourselves. One. Number two, let's stop discriminating ourselves based on religious. Let's love ourselves irregardless of our religious, race, and other things. Religious can be separated from the ways of people are. Religious should be treated differently, and let our peoples know that if there is any feast like the one that is taking place now, it is not meant only for Muslims. We can learn out of it. Like let's learn to love ourselves. Let's, let's love Muslim community. Let's love others, religious, like Christian and others.
Thank you, Michael Gadkour. Let's love Muslim community from your words, and then love ourselves. Thank you so much for making it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bless you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, dear viewers on SSBC, for following this special program. My name is Majur Cholkur, and that was my guest, Michael Gadkour, a learning lawyer at the University of Juba. And let's have a break. After this break, I will be joined by the chairperson of South Sudan National Youth Union, Mr. Gola Boyo Gola. Let's have a break.
بهجتنا هنو يلا اللي تحبون في حزتها الأعياد وش باقي غير الأعياد في غمرة بهجتنا هنو يلا اللي تحبون في حزتها الأعياد وش باقي غير الأعياد والعيد شرف بالحب الله يحيي ما دمنا مع بعضنا دامت مساعي والعيد شرف بالحب الله يحيي ما دمنا مع بعضنا دامت مساعي دامت مساعي فيه الفرحة معهودة افرح وانسى أحزانك فيه الضحكة معسولة داعبها بكل أشجانك فيه الفرحة معهودة وانسى أحزانك فيه الضحكة معسولة عليك ألحانك ردد كلمة منشودة غمرة بهجتنا هنو يلا اللي تحبون في حزتها الأعياد وش باقي غير الأعياد في غمرة بهجتنا هنو يلا اللي تحبون في حزتها الأعياد وش باقي غير الأعياد والعيد شرف بالحب الله يحيي ما دمنا مع بعضنا
Welcome back, dear viewers of SSBC, to the editions of Eid-al-Adha. This edition, we are looking at the commemorations of Eid-al-Adha. My name is Majur Cholkur, and as I said earlier, I'm joined right now by Mr. Gola Boyo Gola, the chairperson of South Sudan National Youth Union, and has the National Youth Union of the Republic of South Sudan is entitled to work on the issues of youth affairs in the country. We are finding out what is their contribution to these celebrations of Eid-al-Adha. But before that, you're most welcome to the studio of SSBC, Mr. Gola Boya.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's my pleasure having you once again. And before we look deeply about Eid-al-Adha, what is your understanding about Eid-al-Adha? What does it mean to you when you heard about Eid-al-Adha?
Yeah, actually, thank you once again. Eid-al-Adha is when Ibrahim was tested, and he went and he wanted to slaughter his own son, and then after he prays, God sent him a goat to slaughter. And I think is Eid that should be celebrated by all, Christian and Muslims. But it's look like now the Muslims are the one celebrating Eid-al-Adha. So to me, it's a wonderful Eid, and we have started yesterday by attending one of the sport activities in Al-Milikia, whereby there was a competition of youth who are playing football. We brought a lot of youth together in one place, regardless of their tribes. And it was joyful, and it looked like it's uniting the people of South Sudan. And as I talk now, we are actually, I was invited also in one of my friends' house, and we have enjoyed the meat, and it's a wonderful that we are all celebrating together as a South Sudanese. Yeah, goat meat,
chicken meat.
Goat meat.
Okay, thank you so much. Given, before we go deeply, you said yesterday there was a match that was organized. Was this team a Islamic team and maybe another religious team, or were they just only South Sudanese team that are within Juba trying to celebrate Eid-al-Adha?
No, they were South Sudanese, regardless of their religions, like different religions, different background, and they play it in a very joyful. It was a very nice occasion that, and because I believe, for us as the young people to come together is something that we should support it at the union.
As a youth leader, based on your experience or your knowledge, why do people celebrate or commemorate Eid-al-Adha globally, annually, every year?
I think the reason why is to actually try, at some point, has become one of the norms, and traditionally, especially in Arab world, that the kids and the families can come together and celebrate in one place. And some families, in a modern world, most of the families are divided. Some maybe live in Malakal, some live in Bor, some live in Wow. So in Eid, people come together always, and they slaughter the goat, and they have a joyful time, and they came to know people. People start visiting each other, because during the season of working season, no one. There was no chance for people to visit themselves. Yeah. So it's a very big chance to the people to visit themselves, like families, friends, relatives. You see people who you haven't seen for a long time. It's opportunity for us to become social, because nowadays world has become unsocial, although we are calling it like there is this presence of social media houses, whereby even though people are sitting together, everyone is busy using his own phone. While we call it social media, but actually is unsocializing people. Okay.
So, apart from your leadership, being the chairperson of South Sudan National Youth Union, you said in South Sudan, only majority of the people who turn up to celebrate Eid-al-Adha were Muslim. And you said you were part of the celebration. Apart from your leadership, why did you attend the celebration?
That is what is unique about us South Sudanese. We believe in freedom of expression, freedom of worship, and I think in our families we live together regardless of our religions. You find a Muslims who is even non-religious, Christian, whatever. There are those even who believe in traditional beliefs, but all of us, we are not discriminating ourselves according to religious, and this is why we are unique in terms of the other part of the world, that South Sudanese are always socializing themselves regardless of their religions. So this is something unique about us South Sudanese. We are always attend Muslims occasions, and Muslim attend Christian occasions, and that is the spirit that actually I'm seeing in South Sudan is not anywhere in the world.
What did you take away yesterday when you attended the celebration? What do Muslims say during the celebration of Eid-al-Adha?
They always call for peace and unity, and call also for the reconciliation, because we know our country just got out of the war. So the peace messages was everywhere. I think we go through social media, even on some occasions, on SSBC, there are a lot of messages that people were sending. They was all about the peace. And I think this is a very important. In such occasions, we need to utilizing it. Instead of pressing for hatred and division, we need to call for unity and peace and reconciliation and forgiveness, most importantly, because we came just from war, and we have divided according to the tribes, sections, and even families. So this is a very good opportunity for the people to actually advocate for peace and unity among our communities. So the message was a message of the peace among all the celebration or the occasion that I've attended.
given your capacity as the chairperson of South Sudan National Youth Unions, can you explore the role of youth in reconciliations? And during this celebration of Eid-al-Adha, what was your contribution as South Sudan National Youth Union?
Well, as the youth, we have a bigger role to play in terms of reconciliation, in terms of forgiveness, because I believe there is three things that actually affecting our country. We have insecurity, we have corruption, and we have the civil war. And all of these three elements, if you go in, look into it deeply, you will find that the young people are the one, they are the one behind all this. If you talk about corruption, you find the young people are the one motivating corruption, because most of us are staying in our uncle's house. You find 10 to 20 young men are staying in one government official house, and they are not working. And you expect that person not to do corruption. If you talk about the civil war, we are the one being used as a fool to fight on behalf of some politicians in order to fulfill their own interests, which had nothing to do with the young people in the country. If we talk about then, if we are the one fooling the war, if we are the one being used for the war, if we are the one being used, especially even in hate speeches, I think you may go through social media and saw how people write, especially the young people, about tribes, insulting other people's tribes. We are the one encouraging all this. So we are the solution. If we the problem, then we supposed to be the solution, because this problem was all, even though it was not originated from us, but we are the one who are supporting it. So we need to support the solution.
Did you say it's some part of your solution to this conflict or to the problems yesterday in the celebration and today in the celebration of Eid-al-Adha?
Yeah, sure. Actually, we started since Matthias Day. We send messages to the youth in order to embrace peace and unity and work on how to reconcile our communities, because our communities affected badly by the civil war, and now we are trying to bring it back. And we have a plan as a National Youth Union of touring the states. We need to visit all the 10+3 administrative areas in order to send a message of peace. We need to disseminate peace at the young people. And this is one of our priorities that we are working on as the National Youth Union. And the leadership is so responsive for our call, and they are going to support us in order to tour the state and disseminate the message of the peace among our communities.
You mentioned corruptions and conflict that are affecting. Before I go there, I want us to look at the celebrations of Eid-al-Adha this year compared to the other years that has gone, like 2019, 2018. Do you see any difference now, given the economy meltdowns of the country?
Yeah, of course. In terms of security, there is a huge difference between this year and the other years, because I believe last year when people was celebrating, there are some areas that was having some clashes. But now we are celebrating in peace. But the only challenge that we have now is the economic situation that is actually, it's not affecting only the South Sudan, but the entire world. But I think this Eid especially is better than the others, especially when the country was at war. Now I think we are trying at least to gain that momentum, and we are actually moving toward the right direction. And this Eid-al-Adha of this year is having different, different tests, or different from the previous ones, because we are in peace now. And apart from the communal fighting that is happening in part of Jonglei and Greater Barghazal, but the rest of the country is at peace now. So at least this one is better than the rest of the Eid.
Thank you so much for exploring more on the commemorations of Eid-al-Adha. Thank you so much, dear viewers of SSBC, for following these special editions of this commemorations or celebrations of Eid-al-Adha, coming to you live from the national capital, Juba. My name is Majur Cholkor, and my guest is Mr. Gola Boyoy Gola, chairperson of South Sudan National Youth Union. Let's have a break, and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
في حزتها الأعياد وش باقي غير الأعياد فيهم بهجتنا هنوا يلا اللي تحبون في حزتها الأعياد وش باقي غير الأعياد والعيد شرف بالحب الله يحيي ما دمنا مع بعضنا دامت مساعي والعيد شرف بالحب الله يحيي ما دمنا مع بعضنا دامت مساعي دامت مساعي فيه الفرحة معهودة افرح وانسى أحزانك فيه الضحكة معسولة داعبها بكل أشجانك فيه الفرحة معهودة.
Welcome back, dear viewers on SSBC. You are still watching the editions of the commemorations of Eid-al-Adha, and my guest is Mr. Gola Boyoy Gola, the chairperson of South Sudan National Youth Unions. Gola, you're most welcome. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Let's look at the challenges that are facing South Sudan National Youth Unions, given the celebrations of Eid-al-Adha. What are the challenges that are affecting you?
Actually, we have a lot of challenges that are affecting the National Youth Union. You know, I just came to the office, and we are still an establishment trying to put everything together. And, you know, we are trying to make South Sudan National Youth Union as an institution. And one of the challenges that we are facing is the issue of the fund. We know that the union, up to now, it has no budget from the national government, but we managed to talk to His Excellency the President, and he promised that he's going to work on that issue. And is actually now we have submitted our budget to the ministry. So these are the challenges that is facing us, because we are intending, when we are celebrating any Eid, we need to make a positive impact on other people's lives, especially the vulnerable people. By that, like, we need to disseminate some food items for the vulnerable people who have no access to food, some clothes. You know, some other part of the country now is flooded, especially in Jonglei and in Reng in Upper Nile. So these are the areas that when we are celebrating as National Union, we need to do something tangible so that it affects some other people's lives positively. But because of the little resources that we have, we wouldn't able to do that. And that is something very unfortunate, and we hope that in the next coming years, any celebration, we need to celebrate. We have to make sure that we are making impact, or we are changing lives, or we are making some vulnerable people happy and celebrate together with us.
If it come by chance for South Sudan to regain its economy, what do you think will change?
A lot of things will change, starting from even the lifestyle, because actually we are affected a lot by this economic crisis. We are now, even the government is facing a lot of shortages in terms of funding economic programs and development programs. Now we are working only on chapter 1, which is salaries, and it's not even enough, as we are all aware that the government workers are not getting paid on time, and some of them don't even have, even if you are getting paid on time, but still it's not enough. So the economic crisis, we all pray that it will at least, so that we are covering and we start development projects. And this is something that we all hope for it.
Do you think South Sudanese youth have hands in the economy meltdown of South Sudan?
Absolutely. We are the one, because I always believe that, or our vision as South Sudan National Youth Union, we are always envisioning a society whereby the young people are the fuel of development and nation building. Because we did not have chance to contribute during the struggle, our liberation struggle. So it's our time now to contribute in nation building and development. So we have the upper hand in terms of development, and this is our turn. If I ask you now, what did you contribute to this country? Absolutely nothing. Our founders' fathers, they are the one who fought and sacrificed their lives and their time in order to have a country called South Sudan. And that's why I always tell young people, you need to talk about what you can do for your country before you ask what the country can do for you. Okay. Because now we are blaming some of our elders for like for no reason.
Okay.
So
thank you so much, Mr. Gola. Before I let you go, what can you say to South Sudanese within the country and outside the country? What is your message on the celebrations of Eid-al-Adha?
My message is, especially to the young people, let us be the messengers of peace. Let us embrace peace and unity among our communities. Let us put aside our differences and work for the benefit of South Sudan. South Sudan, it was not actually a choice that we have choose to be a South Sudanese. We found ourselves as a South Sudanese, and we need to work as a South Sudanese. We should not act on our tribal basis. We should work as a South Sudanese. Our country is South Sudan, and that is what our founders' fathers fought for us to have a country whereby the rights and duties based on citizenship, not for the tribe that you belong to.
Thank you so much for making it to the studio of SSBC. And dear viewers from Gola said, let's work as South Sudanese and let's forget about the tribe. And we are only one tribe, that is South Sudanese or South Sudan. Thank you so much for following and these editions of celebrations of Eid-al-Adha. I was Majur Cholkor, and on behalf of the technical team in the studio, my guest was Mr. Gola, Boyo Gola, the chairperson of South Sudan National Youth Union. We say thank you so much for joining us, and follow more program coming to you on SSBC. Right now, bye and be blessed.
Thank you.
اللي تحبون في حزتها الأعياد وش باقي غير الأعياد في غمرة بهجتنا هنو يلا اللي تحبون في حزتها الأعياد وش باقي غير الأعياد والعيد شرف بالحب الله يحيي ما دمنا مع بعضنا دامت مساعي والعيد شرف بالحب الله يحيي ما دمنا مع بعضنا دامت مساعي دامت مساعي فيه الفرحة معهودة افرح وانسى أحزانك فيه الضحكة معسولة داعبها بكل أشجانك فيه الفرحة معهودة أحزانك فيه الضحكة معسولة عليك حالك ردد كلمة منشودة غمرة بهجتنا هنو يلا اللي تحبون